Hello, my name is Luke Amato. For my sports med project, I'm doing concussion visual testing. Five common concussion symptoms are difficulty reading, something called supermarket syndrome is where like you're in a public place and everything is just super loud, it's unbearable and you can't pay attention. You're in the lunchroom and it's just everything is too much, you're overstimulated. Another one is eye fatigue, where you can't stay focused for too long. You're kind of just there, can't scroll on Instagram Reels all day. You're done. Double vision is another one where you can see double. If I'm holding up two fingers, you'd see four. And sensitivity to light. These are all some visual symptoms. Smooth eye pursuit movements. A smooth eye pursuit movement is fast movements like cars and fast moving objects. Being able to make a continuous eye tracking movement with a stationary object. So like say if you're in a car driving and you look at a fence post and you can keep your eye on that fence post while you're moving, the fence post will seem to stay still. And as you move forward or vice versa, if a car drives by and your eyes track it, it looks like that car is staying forward, staying still. You can see it clearly. Smooth eye pursuit movements in your eye contribute to depth perception, basic activities like driving, walking, and visual processing. Um, what do concussions do to the visual system? The fovea is a part of the retina responsible for processing vision and movement. Certain parts of your cerebral cortex and brainstem coordinate fast eye tracking that is received from your fovea, the retina, in the retina, and up to 60% of our brain is connected to our visual actions. So that means when we're seeing, that's up to 60%, 50 to 60% of our brain is being used to look, to see things, especially when you're driving, doing fast things, and concussion can disturb these actions, and your ability to see is messed up. You can't track things as fast. You can't see. You have sensitivity to light and all those other kind of things. This is a VOMS test, a one way to test concussions. That is a motor visual thing. I'm going to speed it up a little bit.
The VOMS is a screening tool developed by the experts at UPMC to detect signs and
So
symptoms
we're
of
just going to watch
concussion.
this.
It stands for Vestibular Ocular Motor Screening and looks at the systems responsible for integrating balance, vision, and movement. It was developed a few years ago because the tests at the time only focused on balance, and so we would miss some of these other important areas that we needed to assess. It allows us to be up to 90% accurate in identifying patients with concussion. It also helps us to determine the type of concussion a patient has suffered. When we refer to it as a simple test, we mean that the equipment you need to conduct it is very simple. You only need a target with a newspaper-sized font, a tape measure, and a metronome. With such simple tools, clinicians are now able to identify concussions more accurately because of the VOMS. The screening tests for 5 areas of vestibular and ocular motor impairment: smooth pursuits, saccadic or rapid eye movements, near point of convergence, vestibular ocular reflex, visual motion sensitivity. The VOMS takes 5 to 10 minutes to administer and may help us identify problems that are not identified in other tests. If vestibular and ocular motor problems are identified earlier in the rehabilitation process, it can help us to identify treatments that can be implemented to help patients get better sooner. Used in combination with other measures, the VOMS helps to identify concussion and to determine the best course of treatment for our patients after concussion. Brought to you by the concussion specialists at UPMC Sports Medicine.
So that was the VOMS test. It is a certain way of concussion tests where you would use it against the baseline or just to, I mean, you're kind of just trying to overstimulate your patient, which kind of sounds messed up, but like you want your patient to go cross-eyed and say, "Hey, I can't look at that stick that you're putting up." It's all that you were trying to overstimulate your patient. Another smooth pursuit test is the King Devix test, a test that counts your rapid speed and number naming. It can be used on the sideline of a game. Less than 2 minutes can be done on the field without Wi-Fi. The baseline, you would want to do it in kind of a noisy area, so then you can do it on the sideline of the field or court. So you would do the baseline. This is what it looks like. You would read it 2, 5, 8, 3, 9. I hope you guys can see this, but the lines and arrows wouldn't be there, so you would read across the line, and then that's kind of hard to see. Like they're all spread out differently, so you'd see that. So then you could do that again on the field and do it for time. And if your time is all messed up and you're not showing any other symptoms, then you are not allowed to play. But if you don't have any other symptoms, it's something you can do quickly to get a player back on the field or court. The test is done if there's no loss of consciousness or any other onset symptoms occur. And so, yeah, some of the differences between these tests, again, are the King Devix are there's when there's no other symptoms and you need something quick to and decisive to put somebody back in for the second half of a game. And then the VOMS test would be something in a little more clinical setting where you have time, you have the resources, and it's going to be a little more accurate. And then you would use it. You could with the VOMS test. There's kind of you have your baseline, and then there's a national kind of if you score bad on certain parts, then they can kind of assume and tell what kind of concussion you have. So it's more clinical than the Devix is a more quick kind of on the sideline, ready to go type test. And so thank you so much for watching.